What's going on, Bulls Nation? Why do you do that to me right before we start? You know I can't do it.
You know
I can't do it too.
I know this. And yes, that was the ulterior motive, was to have you do it with me. Absolutely.
Welcome into the CHGO Bulls Podcast, coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Pack Bulls _Pack, Big Dave, Bow, BAWL Sports, Will the Goat Gottlieb, Will _Gottlieb. Our power producer on the controls, the one and only Young Spathis at Joey Spathis. Joey's got opinions today.
He's fiery.
Oh, fiery Spathis.
I can't wait to get some Joey opinions on the mic.
Joey Fuego.
Shout out to everybody out there, Bulls Nation, tuning in. If you're on YouTube, do us a quick favor, hit that like button. Shout out to the pod listeners, and shout out to anybody tuning in on Roku. We on Roku now.
Roku now.
Super cool.
Hey, Roku.
What's up, Roku world?
Thank y'all for tuning in. Might be in your hotel room or wherever. Thank you.
So lots of fun stuff to get to today. One more quick shout out to our pal Adam Amin, who was with us yesterday. Go give that episode a watch after this one if you didn't catch it. Always a pleasure to chat with the voice of the Bulls.
Always a pleasure to chat with him. I have more shout outs.
Is it a shout out to somebody you were fighting with on Twitter today? Because I hope so.
No, shout out to all of them.
I was going to give you the floor for that if you wanted to.
Oh, sure. Well,
I was wildly
let me step away from the setup then. Do you think?
No, I was wildly entertained. I tweeted about it because I was like, oh, I see like 18 Big Dave tweets in my feed. What's going on? And then I started reading some of what, and it was all started with Angel Reese.
Yes.
And this ridiculous debate people are having about her offensive rebounding numbers.
Yeah.
You were on the side of logic and reason.
Thank you.
Talking to an idiot.
Okay.
So I was like,
several.
Big Dave, always too nice to walk away from the idiots after calling them idiots. This is how Twitter works.
I don't know. I feel like I'm too much of a jerk to walk away just calling you an idiot.
You just like to keep poking?
I want to keep poking you and continue.
I poke once, I poke hard, and then I walk away because idiots aren't worth my time.
No, I keep poking at them, and then they're like, will you leave me alone? I'm like, no, I won't. You're an idiot. You came at me, and this is what's going to happen to you. But shout out to a couple of them. I mean, I had some great debates with them. It's coming to have some good reasons. I wasn't arguing the things that they were arguing. I was strictly talking about 20 rebounds being very impressive.
Yeah.
And they are, and it is. Like, I don't care how you get it. I think one of my favorite ones, I can't remember, my man was like, well, you and Matt were giving Andre Drummond a lot of crap, for the way he rebounds. And I said, yeah, well, being 7 foot and 280 and tip drilling is a little different than being 6'3" and doing that. And we still said he was excellent at rebounding. So, yeah, but that's not what I wanted to say. I forgot to give more shout outs. I wanted to shout out, what's my man's name? Tony, at the cocktail bar I was in when I was out in Montreal. He was incredible. He was great. I want to shout out Joey Spathis because I've noticed the growth. Hey, Julia. I noticed the growth in young Joey Spathis before, like, when we first started, or the second year when he would ask me where I'm going and I wouldn't tell him. He was always like, why? And he wanted to know questions. And now when I tell him, he was just like, okay. Because he understands. This is just who I am. This
Before,
is just how
he never understood, but now...
Correct. Now he understands. He had to talk to Baby Joey, and he gets it. That's called growth.
Can we shout out this person who made this graphic of you looking like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
I was going to get to that. I'm going to get to that, too.
Send it to me so I can put it on the show.
Please. I'm
going to get it in the Slack. Put it in the Slack.
I'm going to get to that, too. Shout out to Will the Go Gottlieb. Because Will the Go Gottlieb is not a guy who shows a lot of emotion as far as like yelling or like being adamant and happy.
This is true.
I've seen him do it twice to me, both times it was about me going on vacation and getting out of here.
Go.
Like it was
go
both
on vacation.
Times.
Go.
You deserve it.
Like Will was upset when he never took a vacation. He was very angry. And when he heard I was going this time,
he becomes John Lithgow and Harry and Henderson.
Correct.
We don't want you here.
Right. Get out. Just go.
Well, part of my ulterior motive to never have to sit next to you on the set.
It's working, man. It's working, buddy. Shout out to you for that. I appreciate you. Shout out to Matt just because I love him. And yes, shout out to my man Derek, whose podcast I was on. It was called Show My Scars, I believe is the name of it.
Show My Scars. I listened to that. It was a wonderful conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I did talk about Matt a lot.
You did.
On that as well. But yeah, Show My Scars is the name of it. It's not about basketball, but it ties into basketball, I guess. It was just a little more personal stuff that we kind of got into. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I had a great time.
Yes, there it is.
Be listening to that on the way home.
If you're watching on YouTube, you see it on your screen. He made this graphic of Big Dave as a Ninja Turtle.
Yo.
I saw it because he tagged CHGO Bulls in that post about like, hey, here's my latest episode with Big Dave from CHGO.
Yeah.
I saw that and my heart skipped 2 beats. I was like, this is one of the coolest graphics I've ever seen.
Is this actually a Ninja Turtle or is this more of just like a dance funk turtle?
Well, as I stated, Joey, I was like, I don't know what it is, but all it proves to me is that I'm attractive in any species.
This is true.
Sure.
That's all I learned.
And I believe actually the host of that show, when I credited from our team account the quality of that graphic, he said, well, it's nothing like the graphics that young Joey Patterson makes.
Well, it's hard.
Appreciate that.
You know what I mean? He's trying to come for the king like that, but he's really good. I loved it. I got to find a way to use that. Joey, use it how you see fit.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah,
I will.
But I
will
dig
be
it,
repurposing
yeah, man.
that.
Shout out all that. Shout out Shirtless Wonder, as always. Yeah, much love to all y'all, though.
Shout-outs on shout-outs.
It's too hot to be sitting out there today, even without a shirt.
Rob in the comments just said, hope the AC is working. It's still on the fritz. I don't know why. The other side of our studio space that we, have is cooler than this side. But shout out to Law and everybody here who's got these fans going.
Yes, shout out to him for that. And my child. Shout out to my child.
Rob said, should have had Adam Amin say turn the AC up one final time. That would have been helpful yesterday. Would have. Okay, so we wanted to talk about today something that we had been talking about recently as they were dropping HoopsHype and bless their hearts with their offseason content, ranking the top 30 players by each position across the NBA coming into the 24-25 season. We had some appearances from some Bulls guards when they were doing those. Power forwards just dropped the other day. Patrick Williams is on the list, but not exactly in an encouraging location in those rankings. We'll talk about it. But before that, first thing we wanted to talk about today is a little interview that Nikola Vucevic did while he was out in Slovenia for Goran Dragic's farewell retirement game. And shout out to Dragic, happy retirement. A whole bunch of the NBA Euros crew were out there participating. Joker, Vooch, Luka, plenty of them. And so while he was out there for that Dragic game, Vooch gave an interview to Meridian Sport, and then it got aggregated to Eurohoops.net, which is where I stumbled upon it. Shout out to them. Great Twitter account. And boy, did Vooch say some interesting things. So we're going to talk about them.
Let's do it.
On the Bulls' recent downswing and failure to get out of the play-in the last couple of years, first thing he did out of the gate was say, since Lonzo Ball's injury, and I immediately said, pause. Are we still doing this? Really? Are we still doing this?
That's how you wrote.
Then he went on to say, trade talks also affected us, preventing us from achieving the results we thought we could. But when results don't follow, changes come. DeRozan left, Caruso left, the team got younger. They wanted to go in a different direction. We'll see how the season goes, and the decisions will be made based on that. Thank you, Joseph. Again, that is Vooch via Eurohoops.net.
Can we talk about the Lonzo thing just real quick?
Please do.
Because to me, like, obviously, we're all sick and tired of hearing about things were going great until Derek got hurt. Things were going great until X, Y, and Z players got hurt. It's true, things were going well. I think he also later acknowledged the fact that, like, maybe they weren't going to be the number 1 seed, but, like, they were fighting for a top 6 spot.
He said if Lonzo stayed healthy, we could have been in the 3 to 6 seed mix in the East.
I think that's
fair.
legit.
Yeah.
I mean, they ended up 6, so I think, they finished, I think, 8-15 that year after the All-Star break.
Did.
So, but, like, I want to back Vooch on this one for a second, because I think my read on this, at least, and obviously, haven't talked with him about it to really clarify, but, like, to me, it's like, okay, Lonzo got hurt 3 years ago. And so, like, we just haven't been able to fix it since then because we haven't had a roster change since then. Like, to me, I think that sounds to me more like a complaint or frustration about the state of the team more so than, things were just fine and dandy until Lonzo went down. There's nothing we could do about that. It's like, no, like, we've waited for this. And like, of course, it was not going to continue to get better because nothing changed.
So you read it
that was
as,
my read of it anyway.
Once Lonzo went down, things started to fall apart, and Lonzo remained out, and things continued to fall apart. And as much as we, the players, tried to collectively make up for his absence, nothing else happened.
Yeah.
The roster stayed largely the same, and that's why the results were the results.
Yeah, and that's what Will had been saying a lot of is putting a lot of it more on the front office about them not making the moves, you know what I'm saying, to improve it and change it.
He goes on to say, like, the rest of us focus more on scoring, Levine, DeRozan, me. He, meaning Lonzo, brought us all together. He sped up the game. He meant a lot on defense, guarding the best players with Caruso. Like, he was the kind of glue that held this whole thing together.
Sure.
And I think
Clearly.
we can all take a step back and recognize that, like, if your fifth best player or fourth best player, whatever you want to call Lonzo in this situation, is like the missing link and like it can't function without him, that's probably indicative of a larger structural flaw in the foundation of the team.
True.
But I think what he's saying is like, we just didn't have the pieces to be able to put it all together without Lonzo. And so to me, I think that's more of a like, what are we doing here with 3 years of like understanding this wasn't going to work and still not doing anything?
I mean, I grant you that. The thing about Lonzo and the fact that Vooch bringing it up is maybe not necessarily Vooch just using an excuse of something that has been the status quo for damn near 3 years as why we couldn't get it done, and that maybe in a sort of subtext and subtle way is Vooch saying, hey, we all saw that things started to fall apart when Lonzo went down. Front office did nothing to change and or improve the roster, so it was what it was. I get that. The thing he says about trade talks affecting us,
That part.
I'm sorry, what? All of the trades that the Bulls players had to deal with over the past 3 years. Oh, you mean the 0 trades that your front office made? The outlier compared to the other 29 NBA teams making trades on trades on trades on trades on trades?
On trades.
The occasional Zach LaVine rumor popping up was enough of a distraction to prevent you from winning games or winning more games than you did.
Yeah.
That more so than the Lonzo thing is what made my jaw hit the floor and say, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
How many times we heard countless, dozens, hundreds of NBA players say, yeah, trade talk is just trade talk. It doesn't bother us. We go out there, we do our job. It was weird and surprising to hear an NBA player say, yeah, the trade talks affected us. Like, dude, and maybe it's casting stones from someone who doesn't have a right to, because I'm not an NBA player, and I don't know the effect it has on these players to hear these trade rumors come up when they're out there working hard. But like, dude, no one. Have you ever heard anyone use that excuse willingly before?
Well, you can look at a guy right here on our own team in the Chicago Bulls, at Zach LaVine, who has constantly said, well, you know, my name always comes up in rumors, but I still got to go out there and do my job.
Always.
And I still got to perform, and I'm still going to do my thing. And it didn't seem to affect his game too much until it got for real. You know what I'm saying? But rumors and trade talks are going to happen. I never really heard Vooch's name in a rumor or a trade talk, so I guess he means like with other teammates that was affecting him and things like that. But regardless, he seems to feel, Will, that it really kind of disrupted some things.
I like find myself kind of understanding or empathizing with Vooch here, because it's like he even said last summer, Jake Fisher got him on the record in Eurobasket or the World Cup or whatever it was last summer when he was playing with Montenegro. And he said, like, look, we understand the results are what they are. Like, if this doesn't work again, it's probably this team's not going to stay together. And so I think this sense of like, we're underperforming. And so as a result of that, we know the business of basketball, when teams underperform, they sell off. And so thinking like, oh my God, it's going to be coming at some point. It's got to be coming here. It's like nearing the trade deadline, we're still not good enough. We get off to this bad start. Zach's in the rumors. Like, you have this sense that something is probably going to change. Something has got to give because the way you're playing, and then that kind of feeds into the cycle of you think it's going to change. So maybe you're not playing your best. Maybe it's harder to compete in that situation. And again, like, I think you guys are right in the sense that like, yeah, but it's your job to go out there and play anyway and perform anyway. And I think that's true, but like, it's, you know, this is not like reporting or anything like that, but I get the sense that whether it's AK in the Bulls front office or other front offices, when your back starts to go against the wall, you're starting to make moves to secure your job, right? And not saying that that's what's happening with AK, but I think you start playing because you're trying to protect your job. Like, you're just not going to perform as well.
Sure. And
I think that can probably lead to a stressful environment.
Okay, still plenty more thoughts on this Vooch stuff, including some comments from y'all hanging out with us on YouTube. That's still ahead on CHGO Bulls.
Ray CDJR. Shop summertime savings going on now at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram and save on the perfect new vehicle just for yourself. This August, score new lower prices across their huge inventory during the Make This the Summer event. For a limited time, get 0% financing for 38 months on most of their new 2024 Jeep models, or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. You heard me. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car journey. With Ray's Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing right now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of Chicago area's largest inventories. Then drive home with more money in your hip pocket than you would expect. That rhymed. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out that team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they are the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake, or for more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, because they're serving the community since 1963.
Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. Between work, social media, anxiously waiting for the Bears' final 53-man roster to drop, shout out Braggs, it's no wonder we can get a little worked up sometimes. Coors Light celebrates rising above all of that noise and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn Rain Out Barbecue into the 10,000th annual Willie Goat Gottlieb karaoke party?
I missed the last one.
Or, after a tough loss, settle the scores with an ice-cold peace offering. Shout out to the White Sox, 31 and 101. More importantly, shout out to our CHGO White Sox crew.
Oh, please.
My God,
Yes.
doing the Lord's work.
Not me.
Not the Lord's work, somebody's work. Make the choice to choose chill. Then reach for Coors Light. Is mountain cold refreshment. Plenty of chances in life to make things better by choosing chill. Hanging out at a concert, choose chill, have a Coors. Going to a sporting event, choose chill, have a Coors. Come hang out with us at CHGO Bears tailgates this season. Choose chill and crack a Coors. When the mountains turn blue, you know it's as cold as the Rockies. Exhibit A.
B, C, and D.
Shadazy. Coors Light is cold lager, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So make the most of the times you choose chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart. Just go to CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. That's CoorsLight.com/CHGO basketball. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, continuing on our conversation with this.
Before we do that, can I just read a hilarious LeBron quote that just came out?
Sure.
Oh, Matt loves hilarious LeBron quotes.
This is a tweet from Bleacher Report. LeBron says Bronny can't call him dad in the workplace.
I was just
Here's a
reading
quote.
that.
Bronny's got to call me 2-3 or Bron or Goat if he wants to. He can't be running up and down the court like, Dad, I'm open.
Goat?
He can't call himself Goat.
Yeah.
That's you.
Nobody can call themselves Goat.
That's y'all guy, man.
I mean, Dave and I have been advocating for you to start introducing yourself in media
And that's
scrum
not gonna
as
happen.
Willie Goat
That's
Gottlieb,
You, can't
CHGO.
be, you
That's
cannot
true.
do that. That will not happen.
You should. But no, I agree. For him to reference himself that way, because
Also just a hilarious
because you know
concept.
what the actual goat always says when that stuff is brought up. I can't claim that.
All the time. Says it all the time. I mean, that's for the fans to decide. That's not up to me.
Not 5, not 6, not 7. You're right.
2.
Put that up your pipe and smoke it. Fucking LeBron.
He's not the goat.
Okay. A few people chime in the comments about this Vooch stuff. Dysfunctional saying, welcome to the NBA, Vooch, regarding the trade talk. Lars saying, Vooch is not beating those soft Euro allegations. PDB saying, Twitter went in on Vooch last year. Trade him, rally on him. Look, I mean, the thing about, like, was it Vooch being upset about trade talks about him? Somebody else in the comments saying, like, maybe they were upset about fans talking about trades and not the team talking about trades. That was BDB also. We see Kevin Durant, like, quote tweet and get at random NBA people, on NBA fans on Twitter who are nobodies, just because I think it, like, brings him joy,
Sure.
makes him laugh in some way. people also wonder, is there a little bit of that is KD being a little bit sensitive? Some NBA players fighting back or clapping back on NBA fan nobodies on social media because they listen to things that people say and are sick of hearing it and staying silent about it. Kevin Durant got caught using a burner, for crying out loud.
That's true.
If there is anyone over the last 3 years that has received the most aggressive criticism from Bulls fans, aside from head coach Billy Donovan, maybe also people in front office, if we're talking players, is Nikola Vucevic not at the top of that list?
I mean, he has been. Like, these are people, though. Like, I think people forget that just because they're like professional athletes that they can't be impacted by this stuff. Now, The other side of that coin is like the fans are the ones whose money goes to your salaries. That's what makes the world go round here. If there's no interest from the fans, there's no TV rights deal, there's no salary cap, players are not making millions and millions of dollars. So that is fundamentally a part of the game. When you are being paid to play professional basketball, part of that is because you are supposed to perform for the fans. And as a result of that, the fans are allowed to engage with the game how they want to. Obviously, there's a line there, and we don't cross that line, but you're allowed to be critical. I think that's totally fair too. So I can understand why players like KD or Vooch or whoever it may be would have a hard time with that, but that does come with the territory of what they are doing. And I also think like there's a difference between saying like, I hate Vooch, get him off my team, which I don't feel that way. I really like Vooch. I think it's probably also time to move on. But there's a difference between that and like saying, man, Vooch did not have his best shooting year this year. He shot 29% on threes compared to 34% last year. And even that was a down season compared to the 41% that he shot.
And he was missing bunnies around the rim all season long.
My point is, like, I think there's a difference in the way that you can talk about the game to where, you know, there's a difference between, like, being mean and being critical. And I think it's understandable why some players would have a harder time dealing with that than others. And it's understandable why these players as people would have a hard time with that in general. So I get it, but at the end of the day, like, your job is to perform, and that's the bottom line in the NBA. It is a zero-sum game. You have to outperform the other team in order to win, and winning is what matters. So I know that doesn't really answer the question, but it's just like kind of the landscape and the lens through which I look at all this.
No, it's a line between critical and disrespectful.
Right.
For sure. Absolutely right. But as far as even playing your game, you even mentioned Kevin Durant, like, you know, you just still don't see those things deter him on the floor.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop him from being who the hell he is on the basketball floor. And you're right, Will.
You know who he is.
Every player
That's Kevin Durant.
isn't like that. Exactly right. But every player isn't like that.
Yeah.
You're right. Every player isn't like that. Some are not going to be at their best when their name is in the media or their name was in trade talks. Hell, we just had talk about Dame Lillard, you know what I'm saying? And even his situation, how he left. We saw he had a kind of a down year because he wasn't comfortable. You know what I mean? And I've always thought that was the second most important thing for an NBA player is comfort. I get all that. It makes a lot of sense. With Vooch, it just feels different because we felt like we were watching him gradually go down. And the numbers, you know, the 16 and 11, he was going to give you those things. But you saw the decline on the defense. You saw the decline on the three-point shooting and other aspects of his game. And so for him to put that and say, well, these trade talks might be a part of that reasoning why I was like that, that's kind of where I pump the brakes a little bit. And I say, I don't know, man. I just think your game just might be like that at this point in time. So it's not to be disrespectful to him at all, but I also have to call out what I'm watching, you know what I mean, and what I'm seeing from his game on the floor.
And certainly, like, the players have to perform. That's, like, the most important thing. But to me, again, you can zoom out and look at this from a management perspective and say, well, how much better or worse would this look? I can tell you the answer is better if Vooch is making half the money that he's making and he's playing 24 to 27 minutes a game instead of 32 to 35 because he's not the only center on the roster because you haven't just spent all of your cap space in order to retain him so that you could bring in another backup center. Obviously, they had Drummond last year, but so you could bring in someone who could occupy a lot of that time. And so, like, I think perception and salary plays so much into the way that we talk about players and their performance.
Yes.
And I think if you are going to be critical of Vooch and his performance and the team's performance with him on the court, you have to look above him towards management and say, well, why did you pay that guy so much money on a 3-year contract, which now you're stuck with for the next 2 years?
And that's, I think, a part of the equation that a lot of Bulls fans want to quickly dismiss and overlook. And when we were talking with Adam Amin yesterday on our show about this projected starting five, and Vooch obviously being the five in that starting five, Adam said the phrase, because those are your money guys, when referencing Kobe, Zach, Giddey, Pat, Vooch.
Yeah.
And
those are your money guys. Bulls fans who are saying, like, hey, start Jalen Smith. If it's a youth move and start Jalen Smith, bring Vooch off the bench. Not gonna happen. Is it a shitty situation that Goat just laid out as far as the fact that, and you know, he said it in this interview when he was over there for the Dragic retirement game. I got 2 more years here in Chicago. He said that. I got 2 more years here in Chicago. He sure as shit does at $20 million a year. He's starting
today.
And I just wanted to add to my point before, which was that, like, you know, thinking about like the way that the front office impacts this, I think that's another example of them not being willing to look at value and instead only being able to focus on like their one goal. And like if you look around the league and a guy like Jonas Valanciunas this year got 3 for 30 instead of 3 for 60, $10 million a year, half the contract.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, that's the only way to keep Vooch. Then is it worth it to keep Vooch? And it feels like, again, not like sourcing this or anything, but it feels like the Bulls have been unwilling to entertain that side of the equation. And so when you limit yourself to the one side where it's like, we've got to keep this guy, how much? Now you're overpaying. Whereas if you give yourself the latitude to say, okay, maybe we'll take a step back this year to free up some cap space and not lock ourselves into a bad contract, that can maybe, you know, drive us down a little bit this year, but open up more opportunities for us down the line. And we've seen, you know, a willingness to do that now with DeRozan, but obviously too little too late. And they've just put themselves in such a bad position with mistakes from previous eras and previous years that this is where we are now. But I totally agree that like Vooch is, I think he's a better player than Jalen Smith. I'm not saying he's a terrible player. And again, I really like Vooch. Like I've had a great time covering him and he's always been really great with me and the media in general. But I also think it's clearly time to move on because that's the direction the Bulls are going. And it's the direction they should have been going for a long time now.
Yeah, his quote sounds like that he feels like, or kind of.
Yeah, he's not dumb. He knows what's up.
It's time to get up out of here.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's like, hey, DeRozan's gone. Caruso's gone. They're clearly pivoting younger.
Yeah.
He left out the comma, but I'm still here for some reason part of that observation.
Right.
Can we hear from our in-house Vooch hater extraordinaire, Joe?
Joey
you
Fuego?
Want to chime into this real quick?
Joey Fuego.
I can chime in quickly. We are close to a break, but so.
Oh, do you have a longer soliloquy that you want to say for the other side of the break?
Oh, Matt, this is Joey Spathis.
Because I'm okay with that.
Well, I could start now. And I don't want to be a hater.
I proposed I do the intro and we let Joey bitch for an hour about Vooch.
That's true. That was a great idea.
No, I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
You
not
are
a
for sure
hater.
Vooch
I'm not a
hater.
hater. I am somebody who's disappointed in who Vooch has been off the court since he has gotten here.
Okay.
Since he has gotten here, which has been 3 full years now. 3 full years of
3 1/3, really.
no accountability, finger pointing, poor body language, and in general, what seems to me like he is trying harder to, as LeBron said to Kevin Love, he's trying harder to fit out than fit in.
Oh.
He's not the only guy that had to make sacrifices. He's the guy that had to make sacrifices because his talent did not equate to the other two.
Come on, Joey.
He is the guy who had to make sacrifices because his play on the court fell off a cliff. That's not debatable. He is the guy that pouted and complained on the court to a fan, from a fan perspective, when Patrick Beverley in his second or third game here tried to correct him on a defensive rotation, which I just watched, and Vooch let up a wide open lip. That's like, that happens. I understand. He doesn't control the fact that the Bulls traded for him and paid him probably too much. But stop saying these things. Stop talking about the trade request. Stop talking about the trade talks. Stop talking about how last year you were the only guy who had to make sacrifices. When is it going to be, hey, I've got to play better? It's year 10 for me in the league. I've got to be better if I want to be. We saw a comment here earlier, and I'll let us go to break.
He's getting comfortable.
He says.
He's getting comfortable.
What did he say?
Come on,
It
Joe.
was something about Vooch being our veteran leader this year. Wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't count on it. He hasn't been that guy so far. That's just not who he seems like he is to me. So
sounds about as likely as Zach Levine.
I'm a little sick of some of these Vooch quotes at this point.
Julia in the comments, shout out Julia saying, not a Vooch fan either, Joe. I like Joey speaking facts. Me too.
Joey Fuego.
I love Joey speaking facts. I mean, that is true. And it's unfortunate that, okay. Let's go to break. We'll come back, wrap up the Vooch talk, and then get to the HoopsHype Power Forward rankings. Patrick Williams. Today's show brought to you by Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS because unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers, not a bunch of weirdos, sharks, algorithm makers in their mom's basement eating mac and cheese.
Sharks.
No, just you, your own brain, and the numbers in the game you are watching.
Your mind, too.
All you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 different players to have projections. I heard that. And then watch the winnings roll in. Get on the daily action with your friends, your family. Become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks on the game you're watching. What does that mean? It means turning $10 into $1,000 if you get those 4 picks. And Bears fans, claws up. Get ready for this. The free squares on Prize Picks. Here it is for September, which is just a few days away. 1 Caleb Williams passing yard in every Bears game in September gets you 1 free square on Prize Picks. Every week of Bears football in the month of September, 1 Caleb Williams passing yard, free cash Prize Picks. Bam. Don't miss that deal on Prize Picks because it's gone when September ends. Shout out Green Day. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CHGO. Get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code CHGO on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game.
I like the force.
Can I make a confession?
Sure.
Placed a wager on Caleb Williams to win MVP.
Oh.
That's not a confession.
Yeah.
That is a proud proclamation.
Never got a round of applause.
Yeah.
Applause.
Round of applause.
Round of applause.
Round of applause. Let's go.
The quaff.
Never gotten a round of applause for placing a bet before.
He's speaking like a diehard, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? You can speak like that too by becoming a diehard with CHGO. First of all, big shout out to my guy Matthew and big shout out to my man Rick because they are now diehard. So they are plugged in and they will be privy to some awesome things that you can be privy to as well, ladies
Cool
and gentlemen.
Kids Club.
Oh, it's going down. How about the CHGO Bears crew going to London in October? Few full packages remaining. All right, get a direct flight to London and airport transfers. You get hotel accommodations close to all the action. Individual event tickets are available now at truefantravel.com. You can even customize your own package of CHGO events, ladies and gentlemen. There's a pep rally, there's a party boat, there's an all-inclusive tailgate, and tickets to the Bears game with transportation. It's the best. Let's say you can't go to London, though, and you want to do something else. Guess what? November 3rd, 3 little men from school all week. November 3rd, it's going down because guess what? CHGO is going to Phoenix to play the Cardinals. You can get a 3-night stay at a 4-star Phoenix hotel. You get Q&A with the Bears alumni. You get an all-inclusive tailgate party, round-trip transportation to the game, upper-level game ticket to the Bears and Cardinals. You can reserve your spot right now, like I said, at truefantravel.com. Why am I telling you all this? Because guess what? As a diehard, you get 20% off of all Bears events and all CHGO friends and our takeovers. What we do, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Like I said, the takeover, got the CHGO Cubs takeover happening September 6th against the Yankees. I heard Rizzo.
Hello.
That's what I hear. And it's nearly sold out. Okay? If you want to go, it's nearly sold out. So get your tickets right now, allchgo.com/events. And also the Chicago Fire, y'all. We're taking over Soldier Field with Miami and the crew come through.
That's this Friday.
That's this Friday.
Let's go.
We'll see if Messi's coming, ladies and gentlemen. But guess what? Regardless, we're going to be there representing. tailgate, meetup, pregame, y'all. Jason Derulo post-game concert. Will to Go Gottlieb's got all the albums. I'd like the chance to see the stars, ladies and gentlemen, and get your tickets at allchgo.com/events. So become a diehard, get all this awesome stuff, and much, much more. T-shirts, hats, cups. We got everything you need, including awesome written content by great writers like Vinny Duber, by great writers like Will to Go Gottlieb, etc., etc. Tune in, become a diehard, roll with us. Come have some fun.
Shout out to Ann, who said finally caught live. Salute to the guys. Colin asking, any CHGO Bulls members going to London? I mean, I haven't confirmed with y'all, but my guess would be no. I am not, because you know what the Bulls have on the 12th and the 14th?
Exactly, yeah.
On either end of that Bears 13th matchup in London is preseason games. So we got to be here for y'all.
I really tried to go, but then when I saw that schedule, I was like, there's no way.
Can't do it. Can't even do
no quick turnaround.
Fly out, fly back.
Yeah.
Which is like your move.
It is my move.
You did that when we went out to Denver for the finals.
Yeah, but
I'm literally going to be in Denver
if you guys want to
18
go
hours.
To that game in London, I will find a guest host. Go to London. What are we doing here? Bears are playing in London. We'll talk.
Airline tickets.
I'm seriously though.
I mean, I got mad FOMO of everybody who's going.
I really do want to go.
I love London.
I've never been, and that's why I want to go.
The Bears.
Yeah, I love the Bears.
We can just talk about Vooch, and Joey can get on camera.
Oh,
You know what? One more thing on that note.
Come on,
Joey.
And Come on, Joey.
Let's go, Joey.
Let's go.
I, by the way, am somebody who I have empathy for Vooch. I don't know what it's like to be making that type of money. I don't know what it's like to have that type of money, but I could put myself in his shoes. Okay. And so,
Size 13.
but here's my honest take, and I say this a little bit facetiously, but if CHGO wanted to pay me a contract that was arguably 2.5 times my value, Jake, Lawrence, and Kevin could stand behind me and whisper about trading me to DNVR, to PHLY, to DLLS. They could ship me off
Not
to
PHNX though.
To PHNX. I could be the next host of the
DLLS?
I could be the next host of the PHNX Rising podcast. They could
You
talk
don't want to
about
go work for Chisholm?
because that's what comes with the territory sometimes. All right, Vooch rant over. Vooch, it's nothing personal. Let's be better this year. Let's be a leader. Let's make it happen.
Joey Fuego.
Make it
Is there
happen.
going to be a DLLS Longhorns podcast?
Yes, sir.
Eventually,
The
coming
all-
soon. I've already seen
Are
the
you gonna
graph.
be
for
listening
it.
It's actually called. It's called the All Longhorns podcast.
All Longhorns.
Oh, yeah, Joey's involved.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah!
I saw
Yeah,
it.
Joey's
It was in the tail end of the the DLLS launch video.
thought I saw
The same
graphics.
style that we all did with our respective launches, and then it flashes all of the different shows' logos at the end.
Yeah.
I saw the Longhorns one, and I was immediately like, "Oh,
yeah.
Joey's running through walls."
That's going to be something to behold. I'm happy for you. Joey Wheelhouse.
Colin saying in the comments, Joey don't give a shit. LOL. Shout out also to Chase Porter in the comments who said, thank you for all you guys do. Love the show. Thank you for tuning in.
Shout
For
out.
loving the Bulls as much as we do.
Appreciate you.
Foolishly. But to just kind of wrap up this Vooch interview, and then we can move over to Patrick Williams and the HoopsHype PF rankings. He mentioned something else because as a Bulls player, if you're out in Europe talking about who you are as an NBA player and you play for the Bulls, they're probably going to ask you about the dynasty.
Yeah.
This is how things work. He said about the dynasty, quote, as good as that is in a way, the fact that the Bulls will undeniably always be a global brand, it creates maybe an unrealistic image of what people expect from the Bulls.
Oh, my God.
He said, but it's still all around us. People remember the 90s. It was one of the greatest eras in basketball history. Jordan is Jordan. There was a boom. The NBA had never been so popular. All of those things he just spoke were facts. The thing about an unrealistic image of what people expect from the Bulls, look, I don't want to hammer Vooch too hard on this because I understand what he's saying. Yeah. Unrealistic expectation because Bulls fans who were there to witness it saw 6 titles in 8 years. The greatest NBA dynasty since the Celtics, and we haven't seen one since. No. Lakers didn't do 6 in 8 years. Warriors didn't do 6 in 8 years. Spurs didn't do 6 in 8 years with Dunk and Pop. it was what it was, and it's undeniably iconic. To say that it's not fair to compare yourself to that all the time, when mostly what Bulls fans, at least the rational ones of us, are asking for on a season-by-season basis, is competently run organization with people in the front office positions who know what they're doing, ideally above them ownership that cares about winning, even if they don't know how to go about getting it, and competitive basketball that leads to playoffs and hopefully some W's in the playoffs. We're not asking for 6 titles in 8 years because we know that that's wildly unrealistic. Yeah. But to say something like that is like, dude, this organization has seen 5 playoff series victories in the 26 years since the dynasty ended, collectively. We're not asking for the moon.
No.
Unrealistic expectations. Man, get out of here.
Is he wrong, though? I mean, look, the Bulls don't hold themselves to that standard.
No, they don't.
Period. They don't. If they did, they would be running things differently. And I don't want to like spend today trashing management and ownership, but like
I do.
A team that tried to win not just 6 championships in 8 years, but if they tried to win at a high level, they would not be operating the way that they've operated for the last 25 years.
I think that's fair, but an unrealistic image of what people expect from the Bulls, because when you zoom out and listen to national talking points about the Chicago Bulls organization,
nobody's saying anything because they're irrelevant.
Exactly. That is not a realistic image to expect, that when the Bulls come up in national and global NBA conversations among the people who are the most well-known and get paid the most money to talk about the NBA, that the Bulls, if anything, are a footnote in the conversation of whatever that day's topic is, whatever that season's storylines are. That is not an unrealistic expectation to expect more than that from the brand and the team that the Bulls are.
Yeah. Yes. I don't even really know how to add to that. That's what was in my brain.
You're the Chicago freaking Bulls, man.
You're the Bulls. Like, honestly.
Should and do. You know, it's like, what I'm saying is that's not how it is. But that's what I'm not saying is that shouldn't be how it is. Like, I don't think fans should have lower expectations about this team. I think that these are the expectations that the team has set for itself. Yeah. And it's like, Stephen No wrote this at the beginning of the summer. He was like, it's on the Bulls fans now to recognize that they have moved past their diehard fans. They don't care about them. They're the Arby's of the NBA. That's what he wrote.
I like that.
Say that again.
They have moved past their diehard fans. They are now the Arby's of the NBA.
They already got an A on the class project, and now they're coasting. Like, they've just had senioritis for the last 25 years. Like, I'm not like, this is just what it is.
Yeah. When I hear stuff like unrealistic expectations, things like that, it just sounds like losing to me. That's kind of why I drop my head. That's what I feel and I hear. That's just kind of what I feel, because I'm like, I don't know. That's just not my expectation is championship for this team right now, or that's where the mindset is going to be. I can't say that they haven't moved and operated like a team who hasn't won to win a championship in 25 years, because they did try to do that with Derrick Rose and that team right there. They really did try to win a championship.
That's fair.
They went for it. I can't say that. But obviously, that's an outlier to what the actual fact is. You know what I mean? They've struggled, you know what I mean, trying to get back to those things, and have done it in a myriad of terrible ways of trying to get back to being a championship team and a squad like that. I just don't like when players talk like that. You won't hear a Lakers say that kind of stuff. You won't hear a Boston player say that kind of stuff. You won't hear a Miami Heat player say that kind of stuff. Because, dude, we're out here to win. The expectation is to win. And that's it. That's point blank to me. When you're saying you're hitting unrealistic expectations, I'm like, well, what is the expectation that you expect? I really am curious. I'd like to know, what are you expecting when you walk out on the floor? Because I just expect you to go out and try to win. And that's it. You know what I mean? That's all you can really do. Some you're going to win, some you're not. You know, that's the realistic expectation. You control what you can control within that. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But to hear it being said like this, like, oh, man, we ain't going to be that. You've already lost. Yeah. Like, that's how I look at it. You've already lost.
The way I'm hearing it is, like, less about Vooch saying, you guys should have lower expectations of us because what you're asking for is not realistic. And it's more like, it's just kind of absurd to ask for another 6 and 8.
Sure.
So,
right, which again is not what anyone other than fringe fanatic, like living on a different planet, Bulls fans are asking for.
Sure.
We ask for competence, real competitiveness, not fake competitiveness, and some playoff W's.
That's it. Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe a 7th chip someday. If they ever get their shit together.
Yeah. But, we're not blind to what we're looking at. I don't think any of us are blind to what we're looking at.
Right.
What to expect from this team like that, man. But, yeah, it's a little disappointing.
Unrealistic image, unrealistic expectations. Yes, if you're always going to compare the product of today with 6 titles in 8 years.
Yeah. You'll never
I don't think anyone's doing that.
Yeah, you won't measure up to any of that.
No.
If you're doing that. So, yeah.
Also, maybe just like play better, Vooch. Play better, Vooch, and then I won't be as annoyed when I hear you say stuff like this.
I hope he come out balling. I really do.
It would be super.
That'd be cool, man.
Anybody want a Vooch out there? Okay. Let's shift gears and spend the rest of today's show talking about the latest HoopsHype top 30 that just dropped the other day. It is the top 30 power forwards in the NBA. Wide range of player physicality type in this power forward category because we all know the definitions of players by position has gotten pretty loose at this point, to the point where it's even changed the way that they do the rules of season-long awards when it is, by position and things like that. Yeah. For example, number 1 on this list, Giannis. No surprise there.
No surprise.
A little bit surprised to see. Number 2, Zion Williamson.
Oh.
If healthy.
Yeah.
And they embedded a tweet in here, some account called Ingram Alerts of Zion this offseason saying he looks like he's in the best shape of his life. And boy, howdy, does he. I didn't even recognize him at first because the image cuts off like the top of his face.
Yeah.
And that is the thinnest frame that I've ever seen that does, in fact, belong to the head of Zion Williamson.
He looks amazing, man. And this is all people really wanted. Also, Will, Shirtless Wonder is out there.
There he is.
Right there doing Shirtless Wonder stuff.
He was in the comments. He was in the comments earlier as well. So.
Yep, he was. He sure was. Shout out Shirtless Wonder as always. But, yeah, like Zion, I think that's the expectation everyone has kind of had for him. Oh, man, as soon as he loses a little weight and just stays healthy, he's top 2, power forward. And then we're arguing about him being one of the best players in the league. So I am very excited to see it. Unfortunately, he's going to do this from game 1. And game 1 is against the Chicago Bulls. So that's the sad part about it. But I'm happy he's getting himself together because he is damn good. Even in the shape that he was in, he still was a guy you couldn't really stop who did anything he wanted to kind of on the floor. So now you put that, with a guy who's healthy and ready to go and in shape, he should be a problem, Will.
Yeah, I can't quit Zion. I just think he's going to be great. I think he is just such a unique player. And, I think we talked about this with, Zach Edey and some other maybe prospects in draft conversations. But it's he's just so unique, and he doesn't fit into, the modern-day archetypes of, he's a switchable big wing, like a Jason Tatum type, or he's in the Kobe MJ shooting guard scorer Devin Booker mold, or he's a traditional. He doesn't fit into any of that. He's just his own thing. Sure. He's like Shaq and Charles Barkley in a weird amalgamation of just incredible athleticism. Exactly, I hope he stays healthy. He obviously had a healthy year last year, but got hurt in the games where it mattered the most. He was balling out was the play-in or one of the playoff games? I think it was the play-in game. Yeah. And he got hurt and then missed the playoffs.
Playoffs too. Yeah. He got hurt. Yeah.
I love Zion's game, and I hope he can reach his peak because he's just one of the most unique players in the league. And I really do think that if it all clicks, he could be that good. I don't think 2 in terms of his power forward ranking behind Giannis is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got to click, but that's not wrong to me.
Got to come together.
So going through the top 10 here, my eyebrows lifted when I saw Paolo Banchero all the way up at number 3. But I mean, maybe talking the most underpaid players this upcoming season, still on that rookie deal. Yeah. This is going to make just over $12 million. The 139th highest paid player in the league this coming season, after putting up last season 22.5 points, 7 boards, 5.5 dimes per game. I mean, just massive usage for Paolo Banchero in that Orlando team. Yeah. You got you got Pascal Siakam at 4, Karl Anthony Towns at 5.
Say it.
Lauri Markkanen At 6, shout out to our old pal, Julius Randle, 7, Jaren Jackson Jr., 8, Mobley, 9. And who do we have rounding out the top 10? Aaron Gordon of the Denver Nuggets. Shout out to him changing his jersey this upcoming season to honor his late brother.
I think Jaren's going to be moving up after.
You think so?
At this time next year, man.
You think Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to jump some spots?
I mean, he was Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago.
That's
he
true.
had way more of an offensive burden last year than he
That
needed
is
to
also
because
true.
Ja and Desmond Bane and
Yeah.
Marcus Smart and all those guys were out. I think he's going to slot back into a position that makes more sense for him offensively. I think that's going to allow him to be more of a roamer defensively. Now he's going to have a true center next to him again in Zach Edey. I think he's in for a big year. I'm
Edey effect.
big fan of Jaren's.
Yeah.
Okay, just so we can get to where Patrick Williams is on the rankings and talk about it, just real quickly while I rattle them off, just stop me if I say a name of a player who you think Patrick Williams is better than.
Sure.
11, Kuzma. 12, Miles Bridges. 13, Jeremy Grant. 14, Keegan Murray. 15, Jabari Smith Jr. 16, Tobias Harris. 17, PJ Washington. 18, Draymond. 19, John Collins. 20, Obi Toppin.
John Collins.
No objections? No objections?
Not yet,
I mean,
but I could see
I
Patrick
could
being a
argue.
lot better this year, taking the DeMarlis jump. You come on. We could see a world where Patrick's over PJ Washington in that list.
We
We could see a world, I think, even where Patrick's over like
Jabari Smith Jr. I can see a world he's over
I could
that.
see a world
Toppin?
where Patrick's over Miles Bridges.
I can see he's over top.
Pump the brakes.
I can see where he's over Tobias Harris. I can see that world.
He's got that skill set.
I
He
can see
hasn't
that
proved it yet. He hasn't even proved
Yeah,
really
PJ
anywhere close to that.
Washington.
Also, you know what, though? I mean, now that the contract is up, Tobias Harris actually has something to prove. He might
true.
actually go out there and ball
That's
this
a good
season.
point. And he is with the Clippers?
Counting his ducats for years with the Sixers.
Is it the Clippers? now?
Tobias Harris over
He's with the
me?
Pistons.
Pistons, thank you. Oh, with the Pistons, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be shooting. Shots going up.
I think you
Go ahead.
could make arguments for I think Patrick will be better than these guys this year based on his room for growth, his
Yeah.
role and all that stuff. I think you can make an argument for I think he will be better. I don't think you can make an argument for he is better right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely agree with that.
Agree
completely
as well.
agree with that.
Agree as well.
But I think he could be better than those guys. And John Collins and those guys.
So
He'd be
two
better.
more names before we get to Pat. At 21, we've got Cam Johnson of the Nets.
Damn.
G.G. Jackson of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Out of nowhere. Shout out to him.
And
That does not seem right to me.
Really?
G.G. Jackson?
You want to know what G.G. Jackson's stats were last season?
Sure. I mean, we can look
14 and a half and 4 boards.
we can look
You know
at
what
the
Pat
box
did?
score.
10 points, 4 boards.
I mean, G.G. Jackson.
I'm guessing Pat's-
Pat played 43 games. G.G. Jackson played 48.
I'm guessing that Pat's scoring 14 if he's on the jawless Grizzlies. That's just me, though.
It was, I think role played a big deal there. Obviously, they were missing everybody, and he's a gunner. Like, that's his role. He's a scorer. Pat is not a scorer. So I think to compare them on points per game is not necessarily fair. But, yeah, I mean, Gigi was a guy that I think had he not reclassified and been in the draft last year, he may have been a top 10 pick in this draft. Like, he's very talented. I don't know why he slid all the way into the 40s last year. So I think he has a lot of potential, and it's not wrong to me that he would be ahead of Patrick, both in he played better last year because he played more and put up better numbers, but also in, I think he was the youngest player in the league last year. He's got a ton of room for growth. I don't think his role is going to be as big this year, but I think he's a good player. I think he can be a good player.
Yeah, I'm not mad at these guys being over him because I think you kind of said it best. So I'm just looking at what they did last year. I'm like, yeah, they're better. But I think, again, with Patrick, it comes down to that potential.
The other thing
Everything
is
comes down to that, with him, right? Like the potential to be this guy, the potential to be an all-star, the potential to be this kind of forward that we think he can be. And this list is like, we're not doing this on potential. We're doing this on what has actually occurred and we have seen. And what we have seen is a dude who will get you 10 points and about 3 or 4 rebounds and shoot 40% from 3, which is nice, but do it on less attempts. That'll get you in the 20s. You know what I mean? So whether we're looking at guys like John Collins and Kyle Kuzma and all those other guys and saying he could be better than them, well, they're going out on the floor and they're actually proving it on some of those nights more consistently than we've seen Patrick Williams do it. This is why this is the No Excuses Tour. Let's get it going, Joey Spathis.
Yeah, I just think, like, if you think about like the last couple of young players that have kind of popped for the Bulls, it's been like Kobe in year 5. Yeah. It's been Jimmy Butler in year 4.
Correct.
It's been Lowry after he left the team.
Correct.
Like, I just think that like the Bulls fan perspective on this is a little bit different than how it actually works because that's been the experience there. But I think it's super rare for guys to break out in their 5th season. Like that just does not happen. And Patrick, like I know he's young. He's just turned 23.
Yeah. I
know he missed like almost all of one season and half of another. But this is year 5 for him. And like I don't think guys usually make. I mean, again, Kobe did it last year, so it's not impossible. But guys usually do not make a 10 points per game jump from year 4 to year 5.
That's very true.
And even Kobe, he showed those flashes his first and second year.
Correct.
When he's on the team. Patrick had one game where he scored 35. And I feel like people are still holding on. And again, I really like Patrick.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. I think I'm probably higher on him as a player now than most people are because they're fed up with him. I'm just trying to have realistic expectations based on 4 years of the exact same statistical production. Yes, the role is changing. Yes, there's more room for him to grow. Hopefully he's healthy this year. And again, I still do believe that there is some untapped upside with him, but I just think that like guys exploiting in their 5th year does not usually happen. And so that's why somebody like a Gigi Jackson would be ahead of him on this list because he's in his 2nd year.
Yeah.
And a guy like Obi Toppin would be ahead of him because although he is older and been in the league the same amount of time, he's already shown more productivity.
Yeah.
And like when you're talking about a guy who is both in year 5, entering year 5, and hasn't shown productivity,
right?
Like that's just a hard thing to get super excited about. Again, I really do believe that Pat, there's more there.
I do too.
And we have seen it at times, but I think he's just not like, we're at a point where anything that happens from here on out in terms of like massive growth is like is the exception to the rule, right? It's not what's normal, what's standard, because just because that's what we've seen with Kobe or other guys does not mean that this is what you can expect from Patrick. I think that would be out of the norm.
And one more thing I wanted to say about Obi Toppin, because somebody might look at that and say, well, he's putting up 10 points. He's doing those things. Obi Toppin is more so reaching his potential than Patrick is.
Yeah.
So Obi Toppin getting those 10 points is exactly what you think he kind of would be. Patrick hasn't done that yet.
And maybe
that's the difference.
One reaching potential versus one not, when you're talking about two guys who both years removed are looked at as guys who were drafted higher than they should have been.
Yeah.
So in case you missed it, I felt like whoever did this write-up for HoopsHype was very succinct and accurate with their thoughts on P. Will, saying if we had told you prior to the 2020 draft that Patrick Williams would be a career 41% 3-point shooter through 4 years, you'd think he'd be an all-star by now, considering the physical tools with which he entered the NBA draft.
Exactly.
Hasn't been the case at all. He remains very much a role player, a decent spot-up shooter, not much of an off-the-dribble creator, an okay defender, but one who has tools to certainly make more of an impact on that end than he does. Even so, Bulls reward him with a 5-year deal worth up to $90 million. Clearly, the Bulls still believe in him. Perhaps DeRozan's departure will make extra touches for Pat to produce more as a scorer. To approach that high ceiling, he's still just 22 years old after all. So clearly, HoopsHype dropped this before yesterday,
correct,
which was Pat's 23rd birthday. No more excuses, Pat. I'm sick of it. That's what I feel about this HoopsHype rankings and being number 23. You want to be retired? Go freaking show me something for the first time in your GD life.
No excuses.
I am out of patience.
No, this is it. This is the year for me. This is it. This is the year I'm out. I'm in or I'm out after this year, man. This is what's going to do it. So
out of patience. We are out of time, sadly. That's another show down. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hit the like on your way out if you didn't do it yet. Shout out to Opinionated Joe. Oh, shout out one more time. Make sure you become a CHGO diehard. Big Dave told you about it before.
I did.
Come to the event, CHGO Fire Takeover, Soldier Field. Drink some beers, watch some soccer. Maybe Messi's going to be there, maybe not. Who knows? Either way, I always love going and catching some soccer games at Soldier Field with all those soccer hooligans. You can get a discount on that if you become a diehard. Discount on Bears Cardinals in Phoenix.
You know what else about that Fire Takeover?
What?
Every Fire Takeover ticket includes a free shirt, which was actually was supposed to be on here. I pulled up the wrong one. But yes, very nice, red, crisp, CHGO Fire shirt. I actually think it's one of the better shirts
It is.
in the CHGO locker.
I do really like
So
it.
you
really
go to the
like
Fire,
that shirt.
you go to the Fire takeover, you get a free shirt. Messi might not play, but Luis Suarez is going to play. Like
Suarez
there's a lot of good soccer, to be watched. A lot of fun to be had.
To be had.
And so encourage everyone to
Also,
get out
just
there.
in general, I think we moved our merch store into the ALLCITY network. So now you can get merch from DNVR, PHLY, PHNX, DLLS. But there's some new shirts that are coming out. They're on pre-sale right now.
Already got mine.
Very nice.
Already got mine ordered.
The Die Hard scripts.
It's a nice.
Different colors with the CHGO
The Die Hard
logo.
pennant on a Bulls red.
Yeah.
That's
Hard.
coming.
Some cool.
Or, as you see there in the bottom of your screen, the new claws up tee for CHGO Bears.
Round
That's
of
Will's
applause.
hand. That's Will's hand.
All claws up September 8th, which, speaking of September 8th, come hang out with us, our CHGO Bears tailgate. First one of the year. Woo! Bears hosting the Titans right over there. Soldier Field. Oh, my goodness. Diehards get discounts to all of our CHGO Bears tailgates all season long. And then, of course, 20% off every time you shop at that ALLCITY merch locker, plus a free shirt of your choice when you sign up. Plus the Discord for diehards only. Hang out there, chat with your fellow diehard fans. Avoid all the yahoos on Twitter.
Yahoo.
Like Dave did not manage to do today.
I never will. I'll talk to you all the time. Come holler at me because you ain't going to out crazy me. I promise you that.
I mean, this is accurate.
Yeah.
This is accurate. One more reminder. Go give yesterday's episode a watch if you missed it. We were chatting with a guy by the name of Adam Amin.
Heard of him.
Very nice, very talented. Great guy. Great episode. Follow Will the Goat, Will_Gottlieb. His takes and his hair are perfectly coiffed. Big day, bow. BWL Sports back in the fold, and it feels so good. The young Spathis on the controls is at Joey Spathis. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. We will talk to you tomorrow, same time, same place, 4 p.m. Central. Have a great Tuesday night. See you right. Be good.
Peace.